Right, legends, welcome to, you can call it a New York live session or end of week session. Sorry, got a bit of bad throat today. So, we've met the shorts, okay? I don't need to keep going over those plays. 1 second. So, what do we do now, and why have I taken this long, and what happens? Firstly, we've gone down one way this week, okay? Now, this could still drop a lot harder. Now, you gotta remember, let's start with Bitcoin first, okay? We are still range bound. 1 second. Okay, so we are still range bound. You gotta remember that. So, if I do this, I remember the Asian quant level. The Asian quant level, which I'll bring it up in a second. Here, 19730.8. Do you guys remember that? We've been talking about this level, okay? So firstly, let me go over that. That level coincides with a bounce area. That bounce area, it's not exact, but if I mark this on, like this, do you see that? That, is it paused? No, it's playing. Is there an issue? Somebody saying video is paused. No, it's playing. Is it working? Okay, somebody was saying paused. That area is a key bounce area. Now, this may continue. If it does this and then goes back below holes, okay, we resume shorting. It disconnected. Okay, it's working now. But it's also in a region for a bounce. Here it gets deviated, once it reclaims, it goes up, etc., etc. So that also lines up with this here. So we've got range high here, okay, and we've got this flip area. See that there? So this zone here was a key support area, coupled with the fact that where ES is, where ES is, where Dixie is, where F is, all of them at the same time are around support areas. So we gotta remember we are still in a range, okay? Even though sometimes even me gets excited, we're gonna nuke harder, which we could still, okay? But until it's nuked, we're still at support area, okay? So this could easily bounce from here. It's taken out the bare minimum. It's at a mid-range. It doesn't have to fill this in. This zone here has been traded a lot here. So when that happens, this could be a minimum for a bounce, okay? Not saying you will, but minimum. We also could get something like this and long, since we're still range bound, okay, like this. Couple of scenarios, okay? Those will become clearer next week as the week unfolds. Also, we've been one way, and it's a Friday, so people are going to be taking profit, okay? So that's one aspect. Is that clear? It's just basics. I'm trying to build a context here. The context is what will enable you to understand the market. Once you understand it, technicals aren't all that. Phase one. Phase two is FUSD. FUSD, 1 second, sorry. FUSD is also at a support area. If I clear this, it's at the mid-range. That January's mid-range was our main objective. Not only is it a mid-range, it's also this range level here, which is which monthly? So the confluence of 3 different types of range levels. That's one. The other is this, which is July's range, mid-range, which is also, let's go to the range chart. If I look at the main Asian quant range levels, ranges. Here, it's like this. So it's come down here. We initially did have stink bids here, okay? But as context changed, as time changed, I had to change as well. So it doesn't mean I have to stick to it. But we're there, bare minimum. Now, if I look at it like this point of view, this area here retested. So you see this here? The bare minimum, okay? Now, it doesn't have to retest that. If it was able to rally from here before, that is enough. Is that clear? So that's second factor of confluence. Not every time we're going to get the exact here, okay? So further to that, if I wanted to wait for confirmation, I'd see it like this. This is a range. That's a range, okay? That's a range. So first target area would be here. But if it's going to be a stop run, this probably get taken. So we could play it from here to there. If it finds resistance turns, stops at break even and trims them. If it then, does this and then reclaims, separate trade, target 1, target 2, and then we play this. So my main point to take from this, the second factor of confluence is at a support area, the bare minimum. Make sense? Now, if it did this, broke down, we are then within those clean lows, this range. I will then look for shorts towards there. Everybody clear? Does that make sense? Slowly, it's important you understand this. All of our BTC trades, F, have been based on this type of view of the market. Okay? Do you take any consideration? No, I don't even know. I mean, you could use a factor of confluence. End of the day, it's the market that's going to tell you what's going on. Okay? Just because US government says they're unloading, selling or seized, doesn't mean the market has to react. Okay? I think they'd be most likely make sense to your OTC. Doesn't make sense to you, market sell. I mean, it's the government that can do OTC deals, aren't they? So that's that. The second factor of confluence, okay, so I'm building a picture for possible balance, is the dollar index. Now, I said the bare minimum for the dollar index would have been January's high. Okay? Where's January's high range of a low chart? And then bear with me. Here. So I'm looking at everything. That's why I closed everything. That was our main target. Now, it doesn't have to go there. So look at this drop. So at this point, dollar index was already turning. The others came into support. I don't really fancy my chances. Now, before, when we played this move up, it was happy to short Bitcoin, okay? But now it's done that. That's the bare minimum. So I said in the FX stream, there's no reason why dollar index cannot establish a range here. Resistance, I don't know, there's not a proper range though, but let's just go with this. Dollar index could easily just do this, okay? So it's already range high resistance there, so there's no reason why, and it makes sense. Wash them out, and then either make a swing failure, reclaim, or break down, okay? Until it breaks this and holds, the confidence is as much now. That was third scenario. 203 point looks like a proper mid-range. Yeah, it could do. I still think it goes higher, but what I want the market and what it does are two separate things. Also, from a naked chart point of view, we've got this resistance there, okay? So if it clears it, okay, that's fine. We look to short BTC. But till then, it's not enough, okay? Looking at the monthly, we've already done the minimum. Remember what I said? The bare minimum is take out the monthly stops of here. Now, like I said, if it's going to be a long-term accumulation, it could do this and then rally. But for us, right now, that's enough to know. We don't need to worry about anything else. So I'm building a picture here. There's no trade taken yet. Building that picture. We don't need to worry about what hasn't happened. We focus on the current, okay? So could this just be a case where we come to mid-range? Well, if we look at it from a naked chart point of view, well, these are easy stops, aren't they? Here, okay? This could easily come down, retest the high that caused the low, here, and then reclaim, and then push up. But that's a magnet. That is a very, very nice magnet. Would you agree? Look at those clean lows here, okay? Scenario, that was the third factor of confluence. I haven't even looked at crypto yet. Well, I have, but you know what I mean. Finally, ES. So if we bring in ES, and then FX. FX was the biggest one. Cable, we got trailed at break even, but we did make some money on that. Cable was the big clue for me. Go, what the fuck is this doing? But they're all doing it. Go to ES, where are you? I've got a few ES charts. We don't need to go over all of them. We made some money on ES. but it's not ready in my opinion. So if you go to ES, the proper ES chart, I do apologize. My charts are all over the place because I had to restart. So where's the ES? Right, let me bring up a new one. So this is one. Okay, this is one. The other one I want to show you guys is I think it's this one. Yes. Okay, I mean, I've closed most of them. I've got a small position running, but I'm not really going to talk about that much. But here, the bare minimum for this is, well, we took out this area. This is actually a massive support area still. Okay, this consolidation. See that? That is still huge support. This could easily keep doing this. And we've taken out that key low. It swung failed that low. Hang on a minute. Bitcoin's at key support. F is at key support. Dollar index is turning. ES is still support till proven otherwise. Is that clear? ES and crypto. Are you really new? ES, there's correlated. Overlay them, you'll see it. Overlay them, you'll see it. It's just risk off. If equities go, Bitcoin goes. That's it. Read around that. You need to know the basics. If you're really new, you can pause it and learn the basics if you want. But they're just correlated. Okay, risk off assets. So we could do this. So even though it hasn't smashed through, all I need to know is that key support bare minimum. Now, the moment I see a bit of bullishness, that's it. Trigger based on invalidation. So everything's lined up where a level it could bounce. I rather play the support until proven wrong. Okay. So based on this factor, there's two options now. For let's go with F. There's two options. One is, okay, I can wait for confirmation. Okay. And then long, which is fine. The other option is I can take a trade based on invalidation. I mean, I'll bung the stop loss here. Why? Because if we're gonna go, we gotta go now. Okay, and if it's gonna break back below mid-range and fall all the way there, that's too much. That's too far. That means that's a proper breakdown. Okay, I mean, I could still be wrong, but everything was here at the same time. So I thought, okay, I can take half size, and if I'm right, I'm gonna be no straight away. Okay, I've got good reason. But if I'm confirmed, then as soon as it reclaims, I mean, you can throw in a trend line like this as well. Then it's still a range bound play technically towards here, and then it could easily keep doing that. Okay, I don't know, but the scenario would be stops would be resting there because everybody that's short. It's a Friday profit taking day. Now, if it was the middle of the week, I probably wouldn't take it, but because it's Friday and everything else, if it's gonna be a quick face ripper, have you guys seen end of week face rippers? You noticed it drops, and then boom, end of week Friday it does that, and then it could do this and then drop. Okay, it happens in FX a lot. Rolling to June contract last night about 40 points higher. I don't really take that into account. I mean, I don't know, it could be. I mean, have you got any data to support if it makes a difference? For me, it doesn't really make a difference. The way I just look at it, even if I do know it, I just look at what Mark is telling me right now. It's just easier and it works for me personally. But if I start looking too much into other stuff, it doesn't. It's just my system. So another issue is, or another point, confluence of factor is FX. How many times have we base traded on FX? Now, I will look at and I look at gold. Well, it's a good thing we exited that, right? Gold was holding this, so I'm thinking it dropped, right? And remember when I said, if gold turns, that's when Bitcoin will nuke. Do you remember that? I mean, we can cover FX, but there's not much to cover on FX yet. We'll wait on FX. I'm just going to for confluence. I wouldn't take an FX trade yet. But gold was holding. Our biggest clue for shorting, one of the factors for short, expecting the dollar move was gold, wasn't it? It's come down here and it dropped. Okay, Bitcoin is going our way. But then it's making a higher low. It's not really breaking down. I mean, it took a squeeze and then it dropped, obviously. But it's trying to reclaim. Once this reclaimed, that was another factor. Why is this happening? So I thought, okay, up to here is okay. But if it starts pushing too high, that's not good. So before the news event, it was already a deviation above the yearly level. It's still key support area. That's still a range. So that was another factor. And then throughout the week, I saw cable here pushing up, took by a break even. It reclaimed that. It wasn't turning. And the FX majors. All that for Bitcoin. Make sense? So these pairs were rallying before. Now, I think it could still go lower, but right now I've got to be careful now, okay? Because this could easily, cable's got the ability to take out these highs, because this is still key support, right? This is still the range. And that's why I said I want to short on a clean breakdown below the blue box towards here. It didn't give us that. It gave us first target, but it didn't give us the second. So all that for this. I will be doing FX for this weekend or next week. There's no point doing it now. I ain't get a clean read, and it's too late, okay, for the week. The main play was cable, and that's it. But if this closes bullish for next week, that could be a great trade for crypto, most importantly alts, okay? So alts, I'll probably do it tomorrow in the morning. I want to see how it closes. If we close strong, we're probably going to get a big short squeeze on the weekend, and I'll explain why. So if we close like this, okay, where the stop's resting? Here. Now, if we don't take this out before end of day, cable, FX can do that, by the way, late phase strippers. But if we hold here, that would probably be a long for us, okay? Or I'll see how we close. But more importantly for crypto, probably could like get some scam pumps on a weekend, easy money. That's when Asian quant will be about. I'll probably do a few cryptos. If you've been here for a while, you know what Asian quant's capable of. We'll keep it between us, but yes, we'll do that. Maybe INJ, maybe sushi. So that's one pair. Now I'm looking at some of the alts like sushi. Lo and behold, where are we at? Range lows, aren't we? This is an example of a pair. Is that support area? Does that make sense? Yeah, they do. I mean, but it's still market. I mean, market is whatever it is. So if they're unlocking, those same people will also probably think those. Not all the coins are like that. Those are just pre-sale coins. And at the same time, if it's pumping up, they'll probably say, you know what? Let's just milk the pump and then dump it. So there's not much we can do about that. But on its own merit, is this not support? One alt, and then you can look at the other majors. So that's one. Another one is Litecoin. Litecoin is a funny one. I might actually take a sushi if we can reduce the risk. Litecoin. Oof. But remember Litecoin when I said this is still key support. It's our main targets. We're here for Litecoin. Clean this. Litecoin is here. Isn't that key support? On its own merit. This is resistance. This could be the new range. And often, if it's a first retest, it does that small bounce. So often there's this, and then it probably if it's going to go lower, okay, that's fine. We'll play the shorts from there towards there. That becomes a deviation. But for now, it's a confluence where another pair is kind of a major pair in a way where it's quite liquid, it's well traded. Whether it's a shitcoin or not, it's still traded. Make sense? Now, what we could do is we can wait, they consolidate, confirmation, play target, hit 1, target 2, okay? And you can use that as a factor of confluence for like ETH or BTC. Is everybody with me so far? So see what I'm doing? The thought process, I'm looking at all these markets, not just Bitcoin alone. That's why I had the conviction to hold on to the swing short, because everything else was saying it. Then I'll go into the short scenarios. But before I continue, if you're new, it may not make a lot of sense, but if you're with me for a while, you'll know. Clear? So that's just an example. Now, if this breaks, obviously, and then the others break, then we're going to short it. So those are that. Now I'm going to go on to if ES breaks down. Where would I feel confident shorting this, or for Bitcoin to say, you know what, fuck the longs and fuck the ETH longs, is this. Now this is just hovering about, I don't know. This could still nuke right now. If it does this and starts breaking down and holds, that would be a short. I'll probably keep a hard stop there, but cut in a clean reclaim back above here. Target 1, target 2. Okay, 1 second. Be right back, 1 second. Bear with me. Resume. So if it does this, it's at a thread, so I can buy it until I'm wrong, or I'll wait and say, okay, if this closes and holds, then exit the ETH long, or resume with the shorting. Target 1, target 2, the same plans as before. Okay, and the other ETH chart, I mean, there's a few ES charts. There's that one. The other ES chart I really like. I mean, this is a basic fractal, okay? This is an easy one. I mean, previously, usually when it breaks And if it does that, that's the trigger. So for us, it'll probably do something. Unless it nukes in one go, we'll probably have time. And we've got news next week as well. So what they've done is they're probably keeping it in a mid-range, because this is still a range until the new week, in my opinion. Does that make sense? Because then the data release, like CPI, I think, and some other releases will probably send it either way. But still, regardless of whatever it is, we are still technically in a range bound market. Okay? So this could easily still, coming off a mid-range, run this, deviate, and we play short, target 1, target 2. If it breaks and holds below, target 1, target 2. It's still range bound. Okay? So there's not enough, the data alone isn't breaking it out just yet. If it breaks above here and holds or here, then okay, that's fine. So that's that. And then the last ES chart before I go into the bearish plans, in case shit does hit the fan, is it this chart? Yep. Yeah, it's about mid-range. So what we want to see is ideally if the ES can get above here. I'm not saying I'd long it, but if you wanted to, that's fine. I'm going to stick to this. Basically, if you trade Bitcoin, it's like ES, isn't it? And F, but just more volatile. If it does this, we've done the swing failure. Reclaims and holds. If you wanted to take that late in the day, that's your long. Hard in violation there, but if it gets back below here, I'd cut it. And I'd go for target 1 region here, and then towards there. And that could be a fast rally. Yeah, I mean, why I chose F is because F, I mean, the high beta plays, aren't they? So when they drop faster, harder. You could have gone with Bitcoin as well, to be honest. I just had clearer targets. But I mean, usually, if they're going to bounce alt rip, don't they? More than Bitcoin sometimes. So if you look at FBTC, for example, okay, the main thing is whether you took it or not, it doesn't matter. It's the process, most importantly. But yes, you're absolutely right. If you're going to follow the process, I think we could get a run on this. If you look at it from a range bound point of view, I mean, we're still at support area, aren't we, on this? So yes, you're right. If I clean this up, we're still technically, you know, we can call this range low. And, okay, short term, that's a high, but around here. So we're still within this, aren't we? So if you're at the bottom end, it makes sense for F long. Does that make sense? Now, obviously, if this broke down and held, and we're bearish, then F would be the better short. But if we're thinking it could bounce, then that's that. Now, continuing on now, before I do one more thing, back to ES for a second. I don't have a clear trigger plan. I mean, one could be, well, if you wanted to short, you could short it and then cut in a reclaim back above here and then flip long. Or I'll probably wait for next week. I don't have conviction at this time of a week. But if you want to go for the short, I'll go for this chart and wait for this. Just time of the week, that's all. You know what I mean? And data coming out. But if you did do this, you can take a small size, but make sure you probably close it before the market closes, in my opinion, or hedge yourself. Cut in a reclaim back above the trend line, and that's your short, if you want to do that, okay? So I'll be happy to, so if this gives the trigger, you can take this, or you can take crypto if you want, or take both, split your risk. So if I'm wrong on this, can you explain ETH invalidation? Yeah, so my invalidation for ETH is, we've got this one range, 1435. We've got another range level as well, which is, 1 second. Well, one reason is if it goes down too much. So what I tend to do is the halfway point of this. So if I split this up, it's not exact. It's hit the halfway point, right? See how there? When we split them up like this. So if it was like this, that was the halfway point, right? That tagged the halfway point. So what I've done is just a bit lower below that. Okay, so if it starts breaking below the halfway point, if you do this, that's a range level like this, then that's probably going to go lower, isn't it? The mid-range should cap the downside. Does that make sense? So that's why. That's more or less it, really. Okay? I mean, you could keep it a bit higher if you want, but it shouldn't really break that halfway point. So mark that out in the chart. I will after this. But if it goes below that, then what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to take the L, and how I flip is I'll have this. Okay? And if it gives me the opportunity, it may just nuke in one candle, then so be it. Okay? I mean, we're not going to be right all the time. But if it gets below this range level, okay? See, if I mark that level out, that's a deviation, support, then rallied. Then if it gives me the opportunity, hopefully it doesn't nuke in one candle. But if it does, then I'll wait, break below and hold. And that's a deviation. That's my short. Target 1, target 2. Does that make sense? So if it gives me, I'll take the hit, but can you see the reasoning for it? Okay, now this could be like a deviation area, and if it reclaims, we could probably look for longs again. We'll see how it goes. I'll plan it at the time. But based on invalidation, okay, if I'm wrong, I'm able to cut it. If it gives me, I've got a plan to short. If market gives me, if it doesn't, so what? Next trade. We'll miss more than we get, but we've done well this week, haven't we? Okay, I wasn't even going to trade today, but if the market's value small in size, and we made the big chunk, and that's it. Okay, so that's that, and let's go to Bitcoin. Now Bitcoin, a couple of reasons. If you want to take Bitcoin long, it's a bit tricky for a long scenario. What I don't like with Bitcoin, I've got a feeling, I mean I could be wrong, is I think we may make one more run there. Now whether it does that or not, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so this could be a scenario where we possibly do either something like this, we nuke from here, or we reclaim. Does it matter? No. What I'm going to do is, I'll play this range there. If it comes in there, starts turning, I've got to cut my longs. If it then reclaims, I can get back in, and I'll play towards there. So this is where, if you play level to level, you don't have that stress. Now for the short side, what I can do is either wait for next week, or this is the mid-range level, okay? Now that level, like I explained, the Asian quant level as well, is KSR level here, okay? As you can see, resistance, 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 etc. Okay, so for a little bounce, if it hits here and F jumps up, I'll put targets at break even position. Now if it starts breaking down from here, this is where I marked out the short scenario. I don't know what it's going to do, but I want to take it below the mid-range, okay? That's the key point. Now if I mark this out, this leg here, we'll get onto that in a minute. What we've got here is possible short scenario is this, and if it holds below the mid-range, starts breaking below that the other range level, that would be a short trigger. Ideally look for F as well. If they both give it, that's the short. Target 1, which is that high there, and then target 2 would be these lows there. Now what you could also do is add extra target areas like this, and you could say there. I would take some off there if the short gives, and then there. So if this triggers and F, you got your confluence and you cut the longs. Unless it's a one candle nuke, then okay, so what? Next trade. Make sense? So for F, that would be the short trigger plan. For BTC, that would be. Now for a BTC long scenario, we could look at it from this point of view as well. This is still support level, okay? It's still a support, wrong one. This is still a support level, okay? We play like this. So if BTC does reclaims and holds, and F does the same, that is technically a long, clear invalidation. Towards there, target 1, stops go to break even. Now whether it goes above here to tag this or not, I don't know, doesn't matter. We'll deal with that next week. If it triggers you and then gets back below and breaks down, take the loss, short, play it down towards the plan mentioned. So you're fluid as a trader. It doesn't matter. You let the market tell you. I don't know, I don't need to know the data. All I need to know is market above the level, is it holding, trigger, invalidation. If I'm stopped, switch short. Or wait till next week, because it could get fuckeries where end of week either could nuke or it could be a big rally, because the main move is done. Stops have been taken both sides. So if you look at it from this perspective, what is the actual range? I would argue that the range is this low here to start off with, and here, okay? That was the range. So that's range low. Hang on a minute. 1 second. So if you look at it from this perspective, okay, get to the weekly candle. This weekly here, which I want to show, when it broke out of here, okay, this was the first range set, that high there, and this low here, okay? Now, when it's the first bounce, it doesn't usually do this. It goes there, then does this, and then comes down a lot of the time. So everybody's getting bearish here, but I've given the case for a possible long. It doesn't mean I'm right. I've got to follow my plan. Now, if that's the case, so what is this high? Actually, you know what, if I opened another, yeah, let's go with this one, okay? Just bear with me. So this is the other one mentioned in the range as the midpoint, either this or reclaim that. We'll worry about that then. But this is our first target area, either for a retest short or a target for a long. Now, let me mark that weekly out. We did have it before, but it's just for refinement. If I do this, okay, here. And then this long, actually let me do in blue. Okay. Break it down then. Can you see that? I know it's not neat, but let me just draw it on here. There, and then there. And this is more or less around the midpoint, this support area. So if I get rid of this now, can you see what I mean? Deviation, it comes down towards around about midpoint. Deviation, drop. Can you see that? Why can't this be a deviation? Coupled with the fact that it's a key support area, coupled with the fact it's at a range level, ES Dixie, okay? Now if you want to wait for the deviation, okay, wait, that's fine. And then you play it towards probably target 1, target 2, and possibly there. So does that make sense? So the long I've taken, if I'm correct, the deviation should be quick and short-lived, okay? We will know quick. Or just wait for the confirmation. That's why I've gone with small size. F2 move in the same direction. Yeah, usually they move together, don't they? That's it. F and BTC usually move together. It's that if it's going to bounce and based on FBTC, then F should move more. It's up to you, or you want to take half and half. Yep. So this is where, you know, I was getting kind of euphoric, but I know when that's happening, I start shit posting more. But then this morning, remember I said below the target, that was part of my emotion. I still maintained the main targets. But if I looked at it rationally, even me after 11 years, you could tell from my feed now, that's more or less shit posting, venting out. But when I thought about it, I go, hang on a minute, I've got to take profits here. I've got a good case. And I could have been wrong, but we banked it, didn't we? Same reason when I shorted here, right in towards here, it's not easy, is it? But I remembered that we are still in a range, aren't we? Does that make sense? And the more you do that, the more easier it gets, because I know if I'm wrong, we can flip long, okay? Another reason is I don't like these highs here. If I look at it this way, these highs are very clean. Now this portion here does not have to be traded, okay? Because it's already consolidated. This could easily be a higher low to break out, but it doesn't matter. All I'm doing is playing the range until it breaks out. So does that make sense? I went over detail with the Dixie, ES, all of those for this. It's not, if you trade just this alone, okay, but it's not really giving you the clearest picture, is it? But confidence comes with cross markets like that. Clear? Does that make sense? Okay, that's it for now. We'll see how today closes, but I wanted to explain that to you guys, okay? You know why I exited the market? Main important thing is whether you took it or not, it doesn't matter. Silver, I mean, I don't know what happened with silver. Gold and silver are a bit funny. We'll do that next week. I mean, let me look at silver. Again, it's all about the dollar index, really. This could be a possible low. This could be a macro low. The reason why is this. Here. We got, that's key macro support, you know. Could be a possible range retest. This is technically, it could do, okay, it could go up. No reason why. We will do this next week, okay, once the week closes. But if I want to take a long, I could take a long in validation, and if I'm wrong, break down, flip short, play towards here, and range lows. So this is another reason why, okay, this is contours gold. Gold wasn't going down. What if this is the low? What if the dollar index has topped out? At least for a short term, towards range lows. So that topples over to crypto, doesn't it? Clear? Makes sense? Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys had a good week. I will catch you guys when I catch you guys, see what happens, maybe some Asian quant alts, but we'll see what happens, okay? Keep eye on sushi. Asian quant might do a sushi if F can get some support. Okay, take care, and I'll catch you guys soon. Bye-bye.